of this conversation last time out that we had Inside Sports, but of course the conversation does continue here today. Well, here we are again. Still no Bafana coach. Instead of a tweet like last week, yesterday SAFA posted on their website that the new coach will only be announced next week. What's not clear is whether that will be next weekend, beginning of the week, or towards the end of the week. Who knows? Probably at the end of the year. Okay, I'm joking, but that's the way things have been going on, all right? So also there was no mention of the fact that the coach is traveling from overseas and that he'll be able to get here. All of gives rise to speculation as to who will be the next Bafana coach. I'm Arthur Bwakanawa and this is Inside Sport. Fantastic. Joining us this afternoon in studio is football analyst Coudjoe Amankwaa, and via Zoom I have the pleasure of welcoming Mr. Boebie Solomons, a member of the SAFA Technical Committee. He was part of the group of experts who went through a list of potential suitors for the top job and will take us through that process. Simon Ngomane has kindly agreed to join us as well this afternoon. He's also on Zoom. Gents, welcome to Inside Sports. It's awesome to have you, Coudjoe, Simon and Boebie. Mr. Solomons, I'm going to start with you. SAFA's actions have been uncalled for. It's almost like an embarrassment to the nation and a sign of bigger problems beyond the surface. 14 days ago, SAFA mentioned, especially after making news that they will be announcing the new Bafana coach on a public platform, have not done that yet. What on earth is going on at the national football governing body, Mr. Solomons?
Yeah, good afternoon to all the listeners out there and the viewers. We have been, discussing a lot of aspects. We're discussing the game of football in South Africa, and obviously the Bafana coach is one of them. You know, as a technical committee, and we made this very clear, that our job is not only to recommend a football coach for Bafana, but our job is to try and improve football in the country and put things in place and put structures in place and put development programs in place so that football in the country can advance. We are in a situation with the Bafana coach. Yes, obviously it is maybe a worry, but we have got to look beyond qualifying for the World Cup, Qatar in 2022. Because, it's no use like...
Mr. Solomons, if I can just jump in over there, because it's important for us to understand, Mr. Solomons, that it's taken now more than 14 days, 200 applications to be trimmed to top 5 candidates. I mean, as you mentioned, the technical committee team have sent through the recommendations to the NEC, but still the NEC has overlooked the matter. In fact, last week, what was quite embarrassing was that the public fraternity were hoping that Carlos Queiroz was going to be named as a Bafana coach, because at least we felt that he was the best candidate, until he came out and reports suggested that he denied the offer from SAFA. So do you have a name for who the possible coach is? And I know that you might not be able to answer right now, but surely the technical team should know from the recommendations that they put forward that at least by now there's a Bafana coach.
Yeah, the technical team can only recommend, and we have recommended South African coaches that we feel has got a potential and can make a difference. And also for short-term benefits, we also recommended a few names from international standard. And yes, you're right, Carlos Queiroz were one of the coaches that we recommended, and we felt that not only the day-to-day coaching, that also the future, he can help us with putting programs in place. I don't know what has transpired because we don't get involved with the discussions, so I don't know and I can't say what has happened. So all we can do is we can only wait for the NEC. We have now been called to a meeting on Wednesday So,
but again,
hopefully
Mr.
by
Solomons,
Wednesday-
this happened last week and the week before. I don't understand why you're called in for another meeting. Did the NEC and the rest of the SAFA structure not know that this is 4 to 5 weeks just before the Qatar 2022 World Cup qualifiers? You mentioned at the beginning in your opening remarks that we need to look forward and ahead and a solution for SAFA, but I can't hear a solution, Mr. Solomons, and I'm still disappointed.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, we are disappointed as well, but there's nothing we can do. Things are out of our control. The same with your job. I mean, what happens on other platforms, you cannot control. So the same with our job, if we have got a certain function to perform, as long as we perform our function to the best of our ability, that's all we can do. So the rest obviously is not in our hands. So, we can be frustrated, we can be disappointed, we can be, whatever we want to be, but there's unfortunately nothing that we can do. And hopefully, they have maybe have found an answer, because look, a lot of the coaches are employed. So to find somebody that's not employed, obviously it's not easy. So you have got contractual situations that they must deal with. And also, I mean, the budget, I don't know what the budget is. So those are factors that can involve the delay. And thus far, we don't know. And on Wednesday, we will probably hear why nobody has been appointed yet. And maybe we have to come up with another solution.
I mean, Coudjoe, Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers are around the corner. The players need to go to camp and eventually understand the philosophy of the coach. The coach is under pressure to create a winning team. How much time, realistically speaking, does SAFA have before the major tournaments are having fixtures running thick and fast?
SAFA don't have time. Sadly, this was a Vision 2022 that started before 2010, and in a 10-year period, let me be very economical, to come to this situation where South Africa cannot announce a coach is very alarming and very disappointing. Last week, we all had it on authority that Carlos Queiroz was going to be appointed. Unfortunately, there is what you call karma. Carlos Queiroz was in this country between 2000 and 2002. He qualified South Africa for a World Cup, and they told him to step aside for Jomo Sono to take the team to the World Cup.
So it's obvious that he can't be the man.
And definitely he cannot be the man. And at the end of the day, what you do today awaits you along the way in future.
Please hold on there, Mr. Amankwaa. Mr. Solomons, then there's a bridging of the gap that needs to take place between the technical committee and the National Executive Committee. So that's where the problem is as well. Do you agree?
Well, it's obvious that according to the constitution of football and according to the football structures, that is unfortunately the avenues that they have to go through. We make a strong recommendation, but we can't have the final say because the national body has the final say. And no matter how disappointed we are, there's nothing that we can do about it, Hopefully, we will come to a conclusion soon, and hopefully then we will solve the situation. But, it's not going to be easy for any coach that comes here, even if he has 4 years to prepare the team, 3 years to prepare the team. It's not easy because
Absolutely.
the way we operate and the way we have gone, we need to relook at those things.
All right, Mr. Ngomane in particular, for Korea, Japan 2002, you were the technical assessor, and you had a very unique case that you dealt with in 2011 when SAFA could not assemble a team to play for Chan. You went to get amateur players, and I think this was a successful case study, and you're able to beat the likes of Cameroon, Niger, and Egypt. But it just looks like SAFA is going through the same problems after 2002, and they are repeating themselves in 2021. I mean, the question here is, how can this change as soon as possible? And will it need a readjustment, perhaps, of the leadership structure within the SAFA ranks?
Thank you very much, Arthur, and good afternoon to the viewers out there. Look, it's very, very much disappointing to learn that up till now we still haven't found a solution to our problems. I must hasten to say we will acknowledge the achievements that SAFA have made in terms of all other facets of the game which are well articulated in their Vision 2022 document, which talks of the world-class administration and to be a major player in world football. But when it comes to the issue of technical performance, I think our country, we have failed completely. And I'm happy that we have Boebie on the line because he's a technician himself with a reservoir of knowledge and experience. I've worked with him over many years. However, I need to hasten to say we need to depart from the premise that says we do not inherit the game from our forefathers. We borrow it from our children instead. So we have a responsibility to make sure that as we serve the game, we need to make sure that we leave a good, dynamic, and competitive game for our children. The shenanigans that are ongoing currently in terms of the technical space leaves quite a lot to be desired. And I am sure that the members of the technical committee will appreciate the importance of having proper structures. The sooner we have proper structures in the country, particularly on the technical front, the better. Technical decisions must be left to technical people to make those decisions.
Thank you for those comments, Mr. Ngomane. We'll continue on the show because we do have much more time, of course, right here on eNCA. Ecstatic about part 2 of our conversation as we dig into the brains of the football experts right here on Inside Sports. We're talking again who will be the new Bafana coach. Stay with us.